I'm honored to be able to stand before you tonight and so extraordinarily humbled. Special thanks to the President of the United States of America.
And the President just weighed in.
Also, another Fox News alert, a major city on edge after shots are fired and explosions rock the main train station. A suspected suicide bomber screaming Allahu Akbar.
We can describe this as the new normal. Europe's now got needs to get very serious about how they're going to deal with this.
Some brand new fears this morning, and did this suspect act alone?
And immigrant outrage, the state-funded college giving preference to illegals over out-of-state applicants. Fox and Friends First starts right now.
Schmidt.
And I'm Heather Childers. Thank you so much, as always, for starting your day with us. Let's get straight to that Fox News alert. A congressional district race in Georgia capturing the country's attention will remain red.
That's right. President Trump congratulating Republican Karen Handel for winning the special election and dealing a major blow to Democrats.
Griff Jenkins live for us in D.C. with the breaking details. Good morning, Griff.
Good morning, Heather and Rob. It is a massive blow to Democrats, who have now lost all 4 of the special elections to Republicans ahead of the 2018 midterms. This was also the most expensive loss for Democrats in history, more than $30 million. The Democrats went all in on this race, turning it into a referendum on President Trump, but Karen Handel comfortably beating Jon Ossoff. Here are the results. If you take a look at this, 53% for Handel, 47% for Ossoff. Handel thanked her supporters in her victory speech with one particular supporter in mind.
Special thanks to the President of the United States of America. Thank you for believing in me. Tonight's victory, it's for you, and it's for every single citizen in the 6th District. It's for every single person with a dream.
The president also tweeting congratulations to Handel, writing congratulations to Karen Handel on her big win in Georgia's 6th. Fantastic job. We are all very proud of you. It was a record turnout with nearly 150,000 votes cast, mostly in early voting. But despite the defeat, political newcomer Ossoff says this was just the beginning of something bigger in moving the country forward.
We showed them that we can still build coalitions of people who may not see eye to eye on everything, but rather than demonizing each other, we find common ground to move forward.
But despite the optimism, Democrats will have to do some soul searching here, guys, after the defeats in Kansas and Montana earlier this year, and now in Georgia and South Carolina, where the Republican also won last night.
All right, Griff, thank you so much. Reaction from fellow Republicans pouring in online.
Yeah, Vice President Mike Pence tweeting this. Congrats, Karen Handel. Great campaign and great victory with Donald Trump in the White House and you in Congress. We will hashtag MAGA.
And President Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr., posting polls were wrong yet again. No surprise. We deliver results. The Dems raise money from the coasts while not even living where they want to serve.
And this is a pretty funny one, actually. Counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, tweeting this, laughing my ass off.
Pretty clever.
Get it?
I get it. And Georgia's Governor Nathan Deal writing congratulations to my friend Karen Handel on a race well run. She's a solid conservative who will be a steadfast voice for Georgia in D.C.
Well, earlier polls indicating that the hotly contested House seat could have gone to the Democrats, but they were wrong. And as Fox News political editor Chris Stirewalt explains, those are not the numbers that Republicans were actually watching.
We don't care about the top line number as much as we care about the movement. And in the closing weeks, the movement for Karen Handel was clear. She was closing the gap. As the focus on this race came down to this being cast as make or break, do or die. If Republicans lose this, then their party will be exploded by nuclear bombs and cast into the abyss, and it will all be over for them and they'll die. Then Republicans said, well, I guess we better go vote. Isn't it funny that the race that got $50 million poured into it, celebrity endorsements, robocalls, full freak out, was a much wider margin than the one that was in South Carolina that had half the number of voters and was significantly closer.
All right, right, it is a big and important win for Republicans. Ralph Norman will fill the South Carolina congressional seat left open by Mick Mulvaney, the director of the Office of Management and Budget now. The president weighing in on that race with a tweet here. Ralph Norman ran a fantastic race to win in the great state of South Carolina's 5th district. We are all honored by your success tonight. Well, the special elections are over, and those who want to make America great again are 5-0. All the fake news, all the money spent.
And to another Fox News alert for you. Security beefed up in Brussels after soldiers take down a suspected bomber in the middle of the city's central train station. And the terrorists shouting Allah Akbar, threatening passengers and setting off this explosion. This was just moments before being shot dead. People sent running for their lives, but no one was injured, remarkably. The botched attack comes 15 months after terrorists bombed Brussels airport and the city's metro, leaving 32 people dead. And this marks the 3rd terror attack to strike Europe since Monday. Former House Intel Committee Chair Pete Oxtra says that the blame lies with European leaders who need to step up.
I think it's disappointing, but we can describe this as the new normal in Europe. These are problems that have been festering. People have been predicting that this was going to be happening. This is the thing that we're going to be reading about, and Europe is going to be experiencing on a regular basis for the foreseeable future. But Europe's now needs to get very serious about how they're going to deal with this. 2 things that they can deal with that are under their control. They can deal with their borders to stop the mass migration coming into their countries. They can work through NATO with the United States to get rid of the safe havens in Libya and in Syria. But the more complicated problem is how are they going to deal with the internal politics and the internal threat that exists in their countries today.
All right, a win in the war on terror under the Trump administration, a U.S. airstrike taking out the top ISIS preacher. The White House confirming that Turki al-Banali was killed in Syria near the Iraqi border. The terrorist and self-proclaimed chief cleric for ISIS, described as a recruiter for foreign fighters, al-Banali behind the first call for Muslims to pledge allegiance to ISIS.
Jared Kushner landing in the Middle East today to help broker a peace deal between the Israelis and Palestinians. The president's son-in-law and senior White House advisor will meet with both Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. Kushner's trip comes just 1 month after the president's inaugural visit to the Middle East, where he met with both officials and vowed to bring the nations together.
All right, top U.S. and Chinese officials meeting today to weigh options against North Korea following the death of Otto Warmbier.
This has some brand new pictures. Look at these we're about to show you. They showed the students' trip to the rogue nation before it took a tragic act or a tragic turn. Hopefully, Jackie, you're going to show us some of those.
Yeah, good morning, Heather and Rob. The heartbreaking pictures show the final moments of Otto Warmbier's freedom. In these exclusive photos from the Daily Mail, he can be seen having dinner with friends, posing with local women on a snow day, and even having a snowball fight. But just days later, he was arrested and paraded in front of the entire world. He would be jailed and worked to death over 17 months. Fred and Cindy Warmbier are now preparing to bury their son 6 days after he came home. At their request, the coroner will not perform an autopsy, leaving his official cause of death a mystery for now. A public funeral will be held tomorrow at Otto's High School in Cincinnati, Ohio. President Trump putting the blame on the Obama administration for not bringing him home earlier.
It's a total disgrace what happened to Otto. That should never, ever be allowed to happen. And frankly, if he were brought home sooner, I think the result would have been a lot different. He should have been brought home that same day.
In an immediate show of force, the U.S. flying these supersonic B-1 bombers over the Korean Peninsula as part of a joint military drill with South Korea. President Trump hoped to work with China to ease tensions, but that has not come to fruition. The president tweeting this: "While I greatly appreciate the efforts of President Xi and China to help with North Korea, it has not worked out. At least I know China tried." Today, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson is set to meet with Chinese officials at the State Department, and North Korea will certainly be on the agenda. Robin, Heather.
All right. Thank you, Jackie.
Thanks so much.
Well, now let's take a look at some extreme weather back at home. The southeastern United States bracing for flooding and up to a foot of rain as tropical storm Cindy creeps toward the coast.
Foot of rain. Geez, Alabama now under a state of emergency as some pretty dangerous riptides batter the beaches. Stay out of the water. Meteorologist Janice Dean is here tracking that storm. Janice.
Here we go. This is tropical storm Cindy, and we're seeing the winds at 60 mile per hour sustains, moving northwest at 8 miles per hour. But, you know, it's very disorganized. The one big thing out of this system is going to be the rainfall. And you mentioned up to a foot of rain. So people are preparing for that. We're going to have flash flood watches and warnings. The potential as well for severe weather as this system makes landfall sometime overnight tonight in towards Thursday. And then it's going to be a rain event really across the Mississippi River Valley, the Ohio Valley, the southeast. A lot of heavy rainfall over the next several days with anywhere from 6 to 12 inches of rainfall. Also want to make mention, heat advisory still up for the southwest California in towards Arizona and New Mexico. Look at the temperatures, 108 in Page, 118 in Phoenix. So dangerous heat. We'll be watching that. And if I could do a shameless plug right now, at 6:30 today on Fox and Friends, we're going to find out where I came from.
Oh.
We're meeting with MyHeritage. I did one of those DNA samples. So we're going to find out if I'm really Canadian.
I know where you came from. Regardless if it was Canada or not, you came from the land of happy people.
Oh, you're
Constantly
so
happy
sweet.
people.
Oh, I can't wait.
We look forward to that, Janice. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. You got it.
Okay, other news now. At least 10 people hurt after a plane packed with passengers gets tossed around in very severe turbulence. Firefighters and paramedics rushing to meet that United flight as soon as it touched down safely in Houston. It did make it to the ground. According to the FAA, the plane from Panama hit turbulence flying near Tropical Storm Cindy, which we just talked about, as it rotated around in Mexico. Among those hurt, 9 passengers and also 1 crew member.
Wow. Well, breaking overnight, Uber's embattled CEO announcing his resignation. Travis Kalanick telling shareholders that he will step aside from the company that he co-founded back in 2009. This, of course, coming after he announced an indefinite leave of absence. Uber has been rocked by a series of scandals, including sexual harassment and misleading government regulators.
In just a few hours, the FBI will reveal new information on the attempted assassination of Republican congressmen at baseball practice. We already know investigators found a list of GOP lawmakers in shooter James Hodgkinson's van. They also recovered a cell phone and a computer.
And as the House Majority Whip Steve Scalise remains in serious condition, the vice president and other lawmakers showing their support by donating to the Capitol Hill Blood Bank.
That's right. Hollywood also getting on board. U2 frontman Bono giving him a shout out at their concert outside. I'm reading your read. Go right ahead, Heather.
I think it's 12 minutes after the top of the hour, too. Imagine that.
Is, yeah.
Well, despite getting beat up by Hollywood feminist, Karen Handel pulling off a major win for the GOP. Why our next guest says that this victory is a sign that voters have had enough with the hysterics in Hollywood.
We lost so many Marines at Iwo Jima trying to put the flag up, and we're being hassled about taking the flag down.
And Flag Fury, the outrageous reason that a Navy veteran and his wife were told to take down their American pride.
And have you seen this? Marco Rubio's cringeworthy moment, some say, with the first daughter, Ivanka Trump. The awkward hug that you have to see.
Welcome back. A state-funded college in California is sparking outrage for implementing a quota system, ensuring that it doesn't admit too many legal American citizens. The University of California capping out-of-state student population at 18%, but not capped are illegal immigrants. Our Tucker Carlson getting into a fiery debate with a former undocumented immigrant who thinks illegals should get preferential treatment in California because they live in the state, legal or not.
I came on the show to talk about this law in California and whether it discriminates against U.S. citizens, which
it's interesting.
It doesn't, right? Like it doesn't discriminate
it
against
doesn't. It's like affirmative action. We're all winners, except some more than others. Right. I love it. All right, illegal immigrants have an easier time getting into this college. They are also entitled to in-state tuition rates at the University of California. Heather.
Well, immigrant college students in another state will not be getting any financial help. The Arizona Court of Appeals ruling that Dreamers are not entitled to in-state tuition. And the court ruled the DACA program only protects immigrants from being deported. Now, they overturned a 2015 ruling saying that Dreamers qualified for state benefits. Maricopa Community College, who brought the original case, now deciding if they will appeal.
Okay, one of the big stories today, a congressional district race in Georgia that captured the country's attention will remain red.
Republican Karen Handel winning the special election late last night, dealing a massive blow to Democrats by beating Democrat Jon Ossoff.
Yeah, for more, let's bring in GOP strategist, former GOP congressional candidate in Florida, Noelle Nickpour. Noelle, thanks so much for getting up early with us this morning.
Thank you.
We'll start off. I mean, obviously, this is a victory for Republicans, but it was also a pretty big scare. This is a seat that's been comfortably red since before I was born.
Yeah, and you know what? This was a major loss for Hollywood and for the liberal elites. And one of the things I really noticed is the Democrats still don't get it. I mean, they ran a campaign on anti-Trump, and the anti-Trump anger or whatever was not big enough to capture, you know, their voting audience. But what they don't get is it's about the working man. Trump stole the working man because they were disgruntled, they were upset, and the middle class. And they're still not appealing to that voter.
You know what else they did? They relied on some heavy hitters from Hollywood, and that did not help this time either. Let's take a look at some of the tweets that were sent out prior to last night's election. This was Samuel Jackson. He said, Georgia voters, get out there and vote Ossoff. The future is now. Make a change. You're our first step on the road to recovery. And then Sarah Silverman, she said, Georgia, show Handel where she can stuff her bigotry. Hashtag vote Ossoff. Deborah Messing, oh, Jon Ossoff, please save hashtag GA06. That's the district from this woman. Hashtag vote your Ossoff vote. And then Sally Cohn, this is after the fact, I believe. She said, important to note that Handel did not win GA06 by embracing Trump. In many ways, she distanced herself from him. This is not Trump's victory. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't. This whole thing is just off base. And look, the celebrity deal would have been fantastic in California, not in a southern state, in Georgia. The mere fact that they had outward money coming in from these liberal elitist groups is a huge turnoff. So once again, they've missed the boat. But Heather, you know, you're right on one thing. I really think that, you know, the message is they're off base, and Handel ran a good campaign. She stayed true to her base. She thanked all the Republicans that were going, and they went strong. And I think Trump did
and she thanked Trump. She thanked Trump.
Yeah. But Noelle, let's play the other side here for a second. Should this race have ever been this close? It was squeaked out as a victory for Republicans, but this should be a very comfortable red district, should it not?
Yeah, you're right on that. And I think that this, you know, gave a wake-up call to everybody involved. But I will tell you, it gave more of a wake-up call to the Democrats, because I think with the new party chairmen, Perez and Ellison, I really think that they thought they were going to bank on some of the rhetoric and some of the anti-Trump movement to take over in the midterms. And what they're seeing in these special elections, not so.
Nope, didn't work.
Well, it's a win. A win's a win for Republicans. All right, thank you so much, Noelle.
Thanks. Well, the time now is 20 minutes until, wait, what is it? 20 till the top of the hour? After the top of the hour. Democrats running Illinois into the ground. We'll have that coming up.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
And welcome back to Fox and Friends First. One of Hollywood's greatest actors suddenly calling it quits, announcing that he is retiring from acting. His agent calling it a private decision. The 60-year-old is famous for morphing into his characters, including, do you remember Abraham Lincoln? That was pretty good. He is the only person to win the Best Actor Oscar 3 times. Rob?
I hope he reconsiders that. He is one of the best out there. All right, O.J. Simpson, the juice, could be one step closer to becoming a free man. A parole hearing for the former football star set for July 20th. Simpson has been behind bars for 9 years now, serving time for armed robbery, kidnapping, and assault stemming from that confrontation over his sports memorabilia at a Las Vegas hotel. He could be released as early as October.
We'll now have A Fox Business Alert for you. Democrats running the state of Illinois into the ground, and not even the lottery is safe.
That's right. Tracy Carrasco from our sister network Fox Business here with the full-fledged financial crisis. Tracy.
That's right, guys. Now, Illinois is dealing with a full-on financial crisis. The state is facing billions in unpaid bills and pension obligations. Now, as you said, not even the lottery is safe. The state is already planning to stop Powerball and Mega Millions sales because they can't pay the winners. A top financial official says that 100% of the state's monthly revenue instead is eaten up by court-ordered payments. The government is calling a special session to pass the first full budget package in almost 3 years.
Well, it's a mess over there right now.
Sounds like it.
Well, Amazon Prime, I love it. You can get it the next day. And the dressing room in your house, what does this have to do with?
Amazon's done it again. Now, it's testing out a new service for Prime members that allows them to try on the latest styles of clothes before buying them. So here's how it works. Shoppers pick 3 or more items and then have a 7-day try-on period to decide what they like. And then they send back what they don't want to buy in a prepaid box. There's no upfront charge, and Amazon said Tuesday that more than 1 million pieces of clothing and accessories are eligible and include brands like Calvin Klein, Hugo Boss, Theory, and Levi's. You never have to leave your home with Amazon.
Yeah. Interesting.
I'm glad I don't own a brick-and-mortar retail store for clothing anymore. All right. Burger King with a new Lucky Charms milkshake. What in the world is this?
Finally making it acceptable to have ice cream for breakfast. Burger King has introduced a new milkshake inspired by the popular marshmallow-filled cereal Lucky Charms. It's a mix-up of sweet syrup, vanilla soft serve ice cream, and Lucky Charms cereal. The new shake is $2.99. Burger King already sells a Fruit Loop shake, so there you go.
I know that you want one, right?
It's a sugar bomb.
Go out and get it.
Keep the kids away from that. All right, Tracy, thanks so much.
Thank you.
27 minutes after the hour, another headache for Hillary Clinton. A brand new investigation just launched into her private email server.
Tonight's story is about the North Korean government, which recently captured one of America's most annoying exports, a frat bro.
And remember when the left thought it was funny that Otto Warmbier was captured by the North Korean regime, pointing to his white privilege as reasoning for the situation? Well, the old and new left-wing headlines sparking outrage this morning.
Just take your time, the clock is ticking, so stay. All you have to do is wait a second, your hands on mine. The clock is ticking, so stay.
Good morning to you from the streets of New York City. A live shot for you there as the sun comes up over Avenue of the Americas. You're watching Fox and Friends First. I'm Heather Childers.
And I'm Rob Schmidt. 31 minutes after the hour. Good morning to you. Straight to a Fox News alert. A congressional district race in Georgia that captured the country's attention. Well, that district will remain red.
Sure will. President Trump celebrating Karen Handel's win and the high-dollar Democratic effort, to say the very least, to flip a GOP stronghold that fell short.
That's right. Griff Jenkins live in D.C. this morning with breaking details on the most expensive House race we've ever seen. Griff.
Hey, Rob and Heather, you're right. It was the most expensive race ever. And now it's the most expensive loss in history. Democrats spending more than $30 million going all in on this race, turning it into a referendum on President Trump. Polls had suggested a nail biter, but Karen Handel comfortably beating Jon Ossoff. Look at the numbers here. 53% for Handel and 47% for Ossoff. Handel thanked her supporters and President Trump in her victory speech, saying anything is possible with hard work.
Special thanks to the President of the United States of America. Tonight reminds us, it reminds me, that anything is possible with hard work, determination, grit, and people who believe in you.
The president, who closely watched this race, reacted on Twitter, writing, "Congratulations to Karen Handel on her big win in Georgia's 6th. Fantastic job. We are all very proud of you." It had a record turnout with nearly 150,000 votes cast, most of those in early voting. But despite the defeat, political newcomer Jon Ossoff vowed to fight on, saying this was just the beginning of something bigger.
This is not the outcome any of us were hoping for. But this is the beginning of something much bigger than us.
But make no mistake, this was a massive blow to Democrats, who have now lost all 4 of the special elections to Republicans ahead of the 2018 midterms after defeats in Kansas and Montana earlier this year, and now in Georgia and South Carolina, where the Republican candidate also won last night. Guys?
All right, Griff, thanks so much.
Thanks, Griff.
All right, Democrats have been banking on a so-called resistance movement since Election Day, and Washington Times editor Charles Hurt says in the wake of this Georgia House election, it's clear that they haven't come close to President Trump's momentum.
The revolution that we've seen in the last year or so with Donald Trump and the Republican Party has been very painful, obviously, for Republicans. But what we're still waiting to see is that same revolution among Democrats. And it's because Bernie Sanders has endorsed every single one of these people and has gotten behind every single one of these people, and they all lose in general elections. And that's going to be something that Democrats are going to have to. It is a schism in the Democratic Party that they're going to have to face at some point.
All right, so let's keep talking about this big election that we just had, this special election. Do you think America is at a turning point right now? That is the question. Log on to the Fox and Friends First Facebook page right after the show for a live debate. Use the hashtag #KeepTalking.
Well, in just a few hours, the president will head to the heartland to discuss technology in rural America. He starts his visit at an agriculture college in Iowa before headlining a Make America Great Again rally. Now, President Trump expected to speak about the importance of internet connectivity and reaffirm his administration's commitment to agriculture. Meantime, Senate Republicans will reveal their health care bill tomorrow. Now, we've been waiting for this. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says that it will be different than the House version approved just last month, but he did not elaborate. Lawmakers have been working behind closed doors for weeks on the legislation aimed at repealing and replacing Obamacare.
All right, a brand new chapter in the Hillary Clinton email scandal. The State Department opening a formal inquiry into whether the former Secretary of State and her aides mishandled classified information. The investigation seeks to determine if they violated government protocol by using a private server to receive, hold, and transmit top secret documents. Depending on the outcome, Clinton and her aides could have their access to sensitive government data terminated.
Well, top U.S. and Chinese officials meeting today to weigh options against North Korea following Otto Warmbier's death.
Yeah, we're getting a firsthand look at the students' trip to the rogue nation before it took a tragic turn. Jackie Abanya is here with some photos you need to see. Jackie.
Hey, good morning, Rob and Heather. Well, the heartbreaking pictures show the final days of Otto Warmbier's freedom. In these exclusive photos from the Daily Mail, he can be seen having dinner with friends, posing with local women on a snowy day, and even having a snowball fight. But just days later, he was arrested and paraded in front of an entire world. He would be jailed and worked to death over 17 months. Fred and Cindy Warmbier are now preparing to bury their son 6 days after he came home. At their request, the coroner will not perform an autopsy, leaving his official cause of death a mystery for now. A public funeral will be held tomorrow at Otto's high school in Cincinnati, Ohio. President Trump putting the blame on the Obama administration for not bringing him home earlier.
It's a total disgrace what happened to Otto. That should never, ever be allowed to happen. And frankly, if he were brought home sooner, I think the result would have been a lot different. He should have been brought home that same day.
In an immediate show of force, the U.S. flying these supersonic B-1 bombers over the Korean peninsula as part of joint military drills with South Korea. President Trump hoped to work with China to ease tensions, but that has not come to fruition. The president tweeting this: while I greatly appreciate the efforts of President Xi and China to help with North Korea, it has not worked out. At least I know China tried. Today, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson is set to meet with Chinese officials at the State Department, and North Korea will certainly be on the agenda there. Rob, Heather?
It certainly will be.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Jackie.
Thanks, Jackie.
All right, the mother of the affluenza teen, remember this story, who told a judge that he was too rich to know right from wrong? Well, mom could soon join her son behind